Hello everybody, this is Pustak Verma and today I am gonna deal with a famous story, The Selfies Giant by Oscar Wilde. The story has been taken out from Compulsory English, grade 11. Part 2, Unit 1st, under the portion Short Stories about the writer. Oscar Wilde was an Irish wit, poet, novelist, and playwright of Victorian era. He was a son of professional and literary parents. His father was an eye and ear surgeon who also published books. On the other hand, his mother was a poet as well as an authority on Celtic myth and folklore. By profession, Oscar Wilde was a journalist and a spokesperson for the late 19th century aesthetic movement in England who advocated art for art's sake. About the story The Selfies Giant. Selfies Giant is a story for children by Oscar Wilde. The story was first published in an anthology named The Happy Prince and the Other Tales in 1888. By this, it means that the story was originally published in the anthology named The Happy Prince and the Other Tales in 1888. The story is about a giant who learned an important lesson from this story about love and sharing. He holds a different meaning for people of different ages. It is a short, very famous short story, a nice work of imagination, is mainly for children with magical creatures like the giant and the ogre. Themes of the story. Theme refers to essence, main idea, central idea, or the gist of the story. So the story The self-ascent teaches us a very important lesson, important message of sharing the good things in life and how it brings happiness to not just the one it is being shared with but also the one who is sharing. That means that it provides happiness to both sides, one who is sharing to others and another who is receiving. Another theme of the story is a kind heart is always a blessing and is implied blessed by the Almighty. It refers that if you helped others or needy people, you are helped by the God in return. सहयोग यदि तिमीले के गर्छौ, कोही दुखी मान्छेलाई गर्छौ, कोही समस्यामा परेको मान्छेलाई गर्छौ भने गडले तिमीलाई के गर्छन् इन रिटर्न सहयोग गर्नेछन्. So this is the another message that the story The Self-Ascent present. The third one is it teaches us that one gets what he gives. यदि राम्रो चिज कसैको लागि गर्छौ भने you will receive good things in return. If you do bad things for others, you will receive bad things in return. So here is if you spread happiness, खुशी बाँड्छौ भने you will get happiness, खुशी पाउँछौ in return. If you give sadness to others, it also comes back to you many-fold. Sadness को bundle भएर तिमीसँग आउँछ. It also forwards a message that bad deeds are always punished. यो के हो त, इट इज द मेसेज टेकन आउट फ्रम द बाइबल एज वेल. बाइबलले पनि के भन्छ, यदि तिमीले के गर्छौ, नराम्रो काम गर्छौ, यु विल बी पनिस्ड बाई द गड, एन्ड इफ यु perform good works, you will be rewarded in your life or even after life. यहाँ दिएको छ, bad deeds are always punished and good deeds are always rewarded in life or after life. So these are the basic ideas, essence are the central idea of the story, the selfish giant. Characters. As we talks about the characters, there are mainly four characters in this story. चारवटा characters रहेको छन्. The antagonist is the selfish giant. Selfish giant is an antagonist. Antagonist भनेको villain, main अथवा villain. Children, kids are the is other another characters. School children are poor children. यिनीहरू के हुन् त, they are the another characters. Third one is the little boy, who is the protagonist. That means the main hero is a messenger of the God or the Jesus Christ himself. And the next one is the Cornish ogre, the giant's friend. Thus, these are the four major characters of this story, the selfish giant. After characters, we'll see in the figure how the giant looked like. कसरी देखिन्थ्यो, एकदमै he looked like the demon or the devil जस्तो देखिन्थ्यो, and how these poor children look like, how they enjoyed in the garden of the this giant. Yes, another this figure show this the two characters in the story. One is the little boy, yes, who is the resemblance of Jesus Christ, and the giant himself. Yes. Then we move towards this is plot of the story. Plot refers to the series of event. घटनाहरूको क्रमबद्ध रूपमा वर्णन गर्नुलाई हामीले के भन्छौँ, plot भन्छौँ. Thus the plot of the story, the selfish giant moves in 5 steps. First one is exposition. Exposition भनेको opening, सुरुवात. The giant finds kids playing in the garden. यो ओपनिङमा जायन्ट्सले यस्तो बच्चाहरूलाई खेलिरहेको पाउँछ. Rising action, second step, the selfish giant bans the children in the garden by putting a tall fence around it. Third climax, center, the children came back in the garden with spring season. Fourth one, falling action, the kids are really nice to the giant and he loves the children or the kids in return. Resolution, ending of the story, the giant is no longer selfish. So this is the morals of the story as well. So this figure also displays how the story moves on, is how it opens, so this expositions arises the story with several events and reaches up to the climax, and how it starts getting falling down and how it ends at the end with a resolution. So this is the plot of the story, the selfish giant. So I think, are you clear about this? So let's move towards next one, the setting. This setting, the term setting itself refers to two things. एउटा हामीले one thing is time and another one is place. And this, in the context of this selfish giant, it basically focuses on the place, not the time. Yes? Sometimes it also projects even the time of afternoon, morning, daytime, nighttime as well. So there is a fairy tale story has a S word of fairy tale with its castle, ogres, giant's beautiful garden. The garden looks cold, dark, and rainy in the absence of children, but it looks warm and sunny in the presence of children. And the tall fence, the trees, the snowy garden, these are the settings of the story, the selfish giants. Then we'll see the summary of the story, the selfish giant. The Selfish Giant is a story about a giant, his garden, and the children who used to play in it. There was once a giant who had a beautiful garden which was lovely, large, with soft grass and fruit trees. The peach bunny means arrow. Trees bore rich fruits and birds sang sweetly sitting on them. एउटा garden थियो त्यो garden giantसँग belongs थियो and in that garden there there were green grass, beautiful flowers and even peach trees. The birds sang beautifully in that garden. The giants had gone to visit his friends named Cornish Ogre, जो कि थियो the was also a British giant for 7 years. Giant आफ्नो साथी Cornish Ogre कहाँ 7 years को लागि गएको थियो. After 7 years, giant के गर्छ? Return to his home. घरमा फर्कन्छ. He found the children used his beautiful garden as their playground. जब वो के हुन्छ? After 7 years, the giant returned to his palace. He found his garden was used by the children. Their happy voices as they played there infuriated the giant. बच्चाहरू खेलिरहेको आवाज हो हल्ला सुनेर giant के हुन्छ? He becomes very much angry. Infuriated means angry. Very angry at the children, he sent them out of his garden and built a wall, a tall fence around it, and also put a notice board. Notice board displayed a warning on it: trespassers will be prosecuted. जब जायन्टले बच्चाहरूलाई त्यहाँ खेलिरहेको हेर्छ, जायन्ट बिकम्स भेरी एङ्ग्री. हि चेज देम अवे फ्रम द गार्डन. बगैँचाबाट लखेटेर तिनीहरूलाई बाहिर भगाउँछ र बगैँचाको चारैतिर एउटा के गर्छ? पुट अ टाल फेन्स, एउटा ठुलो दिवाल खडा गरिदिन्छ र त्यो दिवालमा एउटा नोटिस बोर्ड उसले के गर्छ? हि ह्याङ्स अ नोटिस बोर्ड द्याट ट्रेस पासर्स विल बी प्रोसिक्युटेड. जसले उसले भनेको नियमको उल्लङ्घन गरे, one who tries to enter into the garden will be prosecuted, will be punished severely. बहुत नराम्रो तरिकाले यातना पाउनेछ भन्ने कुरा उसले के गर्छ? नोटिस त्यहाँ के गर्छ? छुन्ड्याउँछ. So then after the children could not return to his garden, they becomes very sad as they had no other place to play. They wander here and there and nearby the even garden. Remember the beautiful garden inside them. तिनीहरू सम्झन्छन् कसरी खेल्ने गर्थे. As the season passed, the time for spring to arrive or came, the giant waited eagerly to watch his garden bloom with beautiful flowers. However, he waited and waited, but the spring never came to his garden. गार्डनमा बच्चाहरू गार्डनबाट चेज अवे गरिसकेपछि जायन्टले वाल लगाउँछ. वाल लगाएपछि उसले आफ्नो सुन्दर बगैँचा सधैँ आएर हेर्ने गर्छ, तर उसको सुन्दर बगैँचा अब एकदमै अग्ली भइसकेको हुन्छ. इभन ड्युरिङ द स्प्रिङ सिजन त्यहाँ के हुन्छ? देयर वेयर नो एनी ग्रिनरी एस and even no any birds used to sing during the time. The giant was very much worried. He waited कि अब आउँछ स्प्रिङ सिजन, अब आउँछ, but it never came. Days passed by and the giant grew worried. एकदमै giant दुखी हुँदै जान्छ for his garden until one day he woke up in the morning to hear the laughter of the children with a little linnet small brown grey bird singing outside the window to see the thoughts of the spring in his garden. एक दिन बिहान ऊ के हुन्छ? अर्ली इन द मर्निङ वेकअप भइसकेपछि उसले बच्चाहरूको हो हल्ला गरेको आवाज सुन्छ र एउटा सानो चरा त्यहाँ गीत गाइरहेको हेर्छ. उसले झालबाट बाहिर हेर्छ. He was very much happy and ran outside to play with the kids who had entered through a small hole in the fence. ऊ जब त्यहाँ दौडेर बगैँचामा आउँछ, उसले के पाउँछ? बच्चाहरू एउटा सानो होल बनाएका छन् वालमा and through that hole they entered into the garden. ऊ त्यहाँ नजिक पुगिसकेपछि के पाउँछ? एउटा बोय उसमा के हुन्छ? रुखमा बसेको हुन्छ. उसले लभिङली भन्छ, यस द जायन्ट भेरी लभिङली यस brought him down. त्यो बच्चालाई तलतिर दिएर आउँछ. And when he asked the name of that child, the children ran away. सबै बच्चा भागेर जान्छन्. From then on, every day the giant waited for his little friend. त्यसपछि उसले प्रत्येक दिन के गर्छ? The giant waited and waited for his best friend. त्यो सानो बच्चालाई आफ्नो फ्रेन्ड मान्छ र ऊ त्यसलाई के हुन्छ? पर्खिरहेको हुन्छ. But that best friend of the giant never came. ऊ कहिले पनि फिर्ता भएर आउँदैन. After a very long time, धेरै लामो समयपछि जायन्ट जब बुढो भइसकेको हुन्छ, जायन्ट was old and he woke up in the morning and saw the little friend in the blooming garden. फेरि बगैँचा पुरा फुलले फुलले भरिएको हुन्छ, त्यही बगैँचामा उसले के गर्छ, he sees his best friend. He quickly ran out and saw the wands on the little palms, boy's palms and feet. जब ऊ बच्चाको नजिक आउँछ, उसको हातमा र खुट्टामा फिटमा के हुन्छ, घाउका दागहरू पाउँछ. And the Zant was very much furious. एकदम रिसाउँछ. He became furious. He wanted to kill the man who had wounded the child. ऊ के भन्छ, who has punished you, who has is wounded you भनेर जायन्टले के गर्छ, एकदमै रिसाएर सोध्छ. And even he was ready to kill that man by his sword. आफ्नो तरवारले मारिदिन्छु त्यो मान्छेलाई, त्यसरी पनि के भन्छ. But the boy said that those were the wants of love. The little child further told him that he was the Jesus Christ. He was the messenger of the God who had come to take him to his garden of paradise with him. ऊ के गरेको छ, जायन्टलाई आफ्नो गार्डन अफ हेभन, गार्डन अफ प्याराडाइजमा लैजानको लागि आएको छ. And the same afternoon the giant died peacefully and his soul rested in heaven is heaven with God. र त्यही आफ्टरनुनमा जायन्टलाई उसमा के हुन्छ, बगैँचामा मरेको पाइन्छ. यसरी जायन्टको सोलले के गर्छ, रिडेम्सन प्राप्त गर्छ, मोक्ष प्राप्त गर्छ. The moral of this story is that it teaches one the message that one gets what he gives. जे उसले दिन्छ, जस्तो अरूलाई दिन्छौ त्यही पाउँछौ. If you spread happiness to others, you will receive happiness in return, and if you give sadness to others, it will also come back to you with many fold. धेरै पत्र गरेर भए पनि यो तिम्रो लाइफमा के हुन्छ त, it will come. This is the figure that shows how the giant was cruel and how he chased the children from the garden. कसरी उसले लखेट्छ. Another figure shows that how the giant has put a tall fence around the wall and how his garden gets covered with snow. कसरी पुरा हिउँले कभर हुन्छ. Okay, then we'll move towards the questions which are presented in our textbooks. So the students, let's see the questions. As you see the text, you will find these questions in our textbooks. First, understanding the text, that means very short questions. Yes, answer the following questions. The question number A, where did the children used to play? बच्चाहरू कहाँ खेल्ने गर्थे? हामीले एन्सर के भन्छौं, द चिल्ड्रेन युज टु प्ले इन द जायन्ट्स गार्डन, जायन्ट्सको गार्डनमा खेल्ने गर्थे. क्वेशन बी, व्हाट डिड द स्नो एन्ड द फ्रस्ट डु टु द गार्डन? गार्डनमा स्नो र फ्रस्टले के इन्डिकेट गर्छन्? द स्नो कभर्ड अफ द ग्रास विथ हर ग्रेट व्हाइट क्लक एन्ड द फ्रस्ट पेन्टेड अल द ट्रीज सिल्भर. यसरी यिनीहरूले स्नो र फ्रस्टले इन्डिकेट गर्छन्. क्वेशन सी, व्हाट डिड द जायन्ट हियर व्हेन ही वाज लाइङ अवेक इन बेड? जायन्टले के सुन्यो जब ऊ बेडमा पल्टिरहेको, बिउजेर पल्टिरहेको थियो? द जायन्ट हर्ड सम लभली म्युजिक व्हेन ही वाज लाइङ अवेक इन बेड. उसले एकदमै मिठो धुन के गर्छ, चराहरूले गाइरहेको सुन्छ. Why did the spring season never came to the giant's garden? जायन्ट्सको गार्डनमा स्प्रिङ सिजन किन कहिले पनि आएन? I think spring is the symbol of happiness, joy, and it never came to the giant's garden because the giants was selfish. ऊ के हुन्छ, स्वार्थी हुन्छ, unkind to the children. Question number E, how did the giant realize his mistake? जायन्टले आफ्नो गल्ती कसरी महसुस गर्यो? The giant put the little boy on the top of his tree and then knocked down all the fences built by him, allow the children to play in the garden. यसरी के गर्यो, इन दिस वे ही रियलाइज हिज मिस्टेक्स. उसले बच्चाहरूलाई गार्डनमा खेल्ने पर्मिसन दियो. त्यसको साथसाथै चारैतिरको वाल उसले के गरिदिन्छ त, भत्काइदिन्छ. यसरी बाई डुइङ दिस थिङ्स, यो चिजहरू गरेर उसले के गर्छ त, आफ्नो गल्ती मिस्टेक रियलाइज गर्छ. नेक्स्ट क्वेसन छ, रेफरेन्स टु द कन्टेक्स्ट. भनेको हामीलाई केही लाइनहरू दिएको हुन्छन्, त्यो लाइन पढ्नुस् अनि पढेर हामीले त्यसको एन्सर्सहरू, कन्टेक्स्ट कुन सिचुएसन्समा, कुन कन्टेक्स्टमा which lines is presented. So here the very first question is, read the extract given below and answer the questions that follow. भनेको केही लाइन टेक्स्टबाट निकालिएको छ, त्यो लाइन पढ्नुस् र क्वेसनको एन्सर दिनुस्। त लाइन के रहेको छ, हाउ ह्याप्पी वी वेयर देयर दे सेड टु इच अदर। क्वेसन फर्स्ट छ, वेयर डज डियर रिफर्स टु। अब हामी यो माथिको लाइन हेर्यौँ भने यहाँ क्वेसनमा के भनेको छ, वेयर डज डियर रिफर्स टु। अब यो लाइनमा यो डियर, दिस वान इज इन एबोभ लाइन, व्हाट डज दिस डियर रिफर्स टु। त डियर रिफर्स टु द जायन्ट्स गार्डन। यो डियर भनेको के हो त, जायन्ट्स गार्डन हो। What does they refers to in the story? They refers to, what does this they refers to? They ले के भन्छ त, they refers to poor children or school children. Why are they saying so? किन यिनीहरूले यस्तो भनिरहेका छन्, how happy they were? They are saying so because they miss the beautiful garden where they used to play in the past. विगतमा जहाँ मजाले रमाइलो तरिकाले खेल्ने गर्थे त्यो कुरा अहिले मिस गरिरहेको हुन्छन्, and because of that they say so. Question B, I have many beautiful flowers, he said, but the children are the most beautiful flowers of all. अब यहाँ एउटा लाइन दिएको छ, that has been taken out from the text. Our chapter is our story. This is the selfies and I have many beautiful flowers, he said, but the children are the most beautiful flowers of all. So is who is the speaker? यो लाइनको स्पिकर को हो, कसले यो लाइनहरूलाई भन्छ, द जायन्ट इज द स्पिकर। हु इज ही स्पिकिङ टु, कसँग कुरा गरिरहेको हुन्छ, स्पिकिङ टु हिमसेल्फ। Who are the children that the speaker referring to? Children भनेको को हुन् त, school children who used to play in the garden. Why is the speaker saying that the children are the most beautiful flower of all? बच्चालाई किन उनले सबैभन्दा सुन्दर फ्लावर भन्छ, किन त भन्छ यस, the speaker is saying that the children are the most beautiful flower of all because the arrival of children in the garden brings spring season. जसरी बच्चाहरू बगैँचामा आउँछन्, बगैँचामा स्प्रिङ सिजन पनि आइहालेको हुन्छ, फ्लावर्सहरू फुल्छन्, चराहरूले गीत गाउँछन्, द गार्डन लुक्स भेरी मच ब्युटिफुल एन्ड बिकज अफ द्याट द जायन्ट sees that the children are the most beautiful flower of all. So I think, are you clear about these questions? Yes? Are you clear? Okay. See question number C. When the little child smiled at Giant and said to him, you let me play once in your garden. Today you shall come with me to my garden, which is paradise. Shortly afterward, the happy giant dies. What is the coincidence of this event? Describe it in the relation to this story. When little child smile at the giant, तिर हाँसेर उसले के भन्छ, तिमीले एकपटक हामीले मलाई के गरेथ्यौ, आफ्नो गार्डनमा खेल्न दिएको थियो, अब आज मैले के गर्छु त, तिमीलाई आफ्नो गार्डनमा लिएर जान्छु, गार्डन अफ हेभनमा लिएर जान्छु भनेर भन्छ। जसरी बच्चाले त्यसरी भन्छ, जायन्ट त्यही आफ्टरनुन के हुन्छ, डाइज हुन्छ। भनेको यसको दुईटाको कोइन्सिडेन्स के रिलेसन छ, टु इभेन्ट टेकिङ प्लेस एट द सेम टाइम। सो हियर इज, when the little child smiled at the giant and said to him, you let me play once in your garden. Today you shall come with me to my garden, which is paradise. Shortly after, the happy giant dies. This indicates incidences takes place one after another, sequential way in the story. They are coincidental in the sense before the giant was cruel. पहिला giant cruel हुन्छ, built a tall fence around the garden, and then even in spring season, winter was prevalent. But as soon as the giant permitted, जसरी giantले बच्चाहरूलाई के गर्छ त, permit गर्छ खेल्नको लागि, play in the garden, the little boy promised the giant to take him to the garden of paradise. Shortly after, the giant dies, receive the respectful place in heaven. So thus the giant's being kindness, जसरी giant kind हुन्छ, दयालु हुन्छ, is closely connected to his salvation, उसको मुक्तिसँग सम्बन्धित छ भनेर यसरी। This is about the question number C. So then let's see question D. The story makes use of personification as one of the main figure of speech. Cite 3 examples of personification from the story. What is the significance of seasons personified in the story? अब स्टोरीले के भन्छ, in this story we find several examples of personification. Personification refers to a figure of speech. एक किसिमको figure of speech हो जसमा के गरिन्छ, इनएनिमेट अब्जेक्टलाई एनिमेटको संज्ञा दिइन्छ। नन लिभिङ थिङ्सलाई लिभिङ थिङ्सको रूपमा प्रेजेन्ट गरिन्छ भने द्याट बिकम्स पर्सोनिफिकेसन्स. The Selfies chant by Oscar Wilde makes use of personification as one of the main figure of speech. Here, personification refers to giving animate characters to inanimate object. भनेको निर्जीव प्राणीलाई नन लिभिङ थिङ्सलाई लिभिङ थिङ्स बनाइन्छ. फर इन्स्टेन्स गिभिङ क्वालिटी अफ अ लेडी टु द मुन. मुनलाई एउटा लेडिजको क्वालिटी दिनु. 3 इक्जाम्पल्सहरू के छन् पर्सोनिफिकेसन्सका? दे आर द स्प्रिङ, symbol of happiness, joy or greenery givers. The garden gave the children joy and happiness before the giant's arrival, after he permitted the children to play in the garden. Winter refers to winter carries the characters of destroyers, which is very cold and gloomy, symbolizes sufferings. And there were no flowers in the giant's garden means the happiness was nowhere to be seen. Snow and frost covers the trees and white clouds makes the tree looks like lifeless. They possess characters of enemies. यिनीहरू शत्रुतालाई इन्डिकेट गर्छन्. Who are always ready to end the others' life. त्यस्तै गरी टेक्स्टमा हाम्रो 4 भिजिटर्सको कुरा गरिएको छ. इन आवर टेक्स्ट बुक्स हामीले के पाउँछौँ? 4 भिजिटर्स छ स्टोरीमा. Snow, frost, hail and north winds are used as 4 visitors who left the garden finally, which means that they are given human characters in the story are personified. So this is about question number this D. Yes. Let's see question number S. C. The story can be read as a fairy tale where the children, the season, the tree, the corner of the garden, the snow and the wine and the forest are also used as symbolism. यो कथामा के गरिएको छ? Several things like children, seasons, trees, corner of the garden, snow, wine, frost, they are used as symbolism. So interpret those symbolism. As we see the story, we find several sorts of symbols in this story. The story Selfies can be read as a fairy tale, whereas children, seasons, trees, corner of the garden, the snow, wine, frost are used as symbolism, as symbols. And the season, 2 seasons, one is spring symbolizes happiness, another winter symbolizes suffering. Trees in the story symbolizes children's favorite sport to play. Beautiful tree behind the Jesus Christ symbolizes is the giant's complete redemption and eternal life in paradise. Giant's garden symbolizes the state of his soul or the journey that a person's soul undertakes in order to find redemption. The snow, the wine, the frost symbolizes human negative emotions, where the snow indicates coldness, wind refers to anger and wrath, and frost symbolizes violence, which results at the giants prohibits children to play in the garden. So these are the symbols used in the story. Next question number D. Which figure of speech is used for winter, frost, snow, north wind, hail and little child? Who is the little child compared to? One it says. So this question number D. हामीले D मा हेर्दाखेरि के पाउँछौं त? Figure of speech. How the figure of speech is used in this story? So a figure of speech is a word or phrase that possesses a separate meaning from the literal definition. Is simple meaning banda यसले फरक meaning दिन्छ. It can be a metaphor, a simile, a symbol, alliteration, assonance, or hyperbole to provide a dramatic effect. The words like winter, frost, snow, north wind, hail, etc. are used as symbols in this story, and they represent negative human emotions. And here winter is personified. It carries the characters of a destroyer human being. Winter is used as a personification, and it is the symbol of destroyer human beings, which kills the children's pleasures and make the garden look like dead. Little child is a metaphor. Little child is presented as a metaphor who carries the qualities of Jesus Christ or a messenger, makes children free to play in the garden, and take the giants to the paradise for salvation. In this way, the two questions, one about figure of speech and who is the little child compared to? In the story, little child is presented as a metaphor and he is compared to the messenger of the God or the Jesus Christ himself. So, okay. Then after we see the reference beyond the text, and these are the significant questions from the point of view of examination. So all of you have to, yes, give stress or focus on these two questions. Yes, the very first one is A. What is the main theme of the story? We have already mentioned about the theme is before, even if we will discuss about the main theme of the story. As I have already told, main theme refers to main idea, central idea, essence or gist of the story. In the story, the Selfies and Oscar Wilde present so many main themes. Some of them are humanity, humility, namrata, salvation, moch, compassion, sahanubhuti, kindness, dayalu, arrogance, anger, loneliness, eklopana, and love and pain. These are the major themes of the story The Self is Sent. It teaches the importance of sharing the good things in life. यो स्टोरीले के गर्छ दिस स्टोरी द सेल्फिजेन्ट टिचेस द सिग्निफिकेन्स अफ सेयरिङ गुड थिङ्स इन लाइफ राम्रो चिज तपाईँले सेयर गर्नुभयो भने राम्रो चिज पाउनुहुन्छ इन रिटर्न्स जसेस इट हाउ इट ब्रिङ्स ह्याप्पिनेस नट टु जस्ट वान जसले के गर्छ अरूलाई सेयर गर्छ अथवा अरूले दिन्छ त्यसले मात्र नभइकन इट इज फर बोथ one who is sharing to others and one who is receiving, but also the one who is sharing. It also teaches us that one gets what he gives. जस्तो दिनुहुन्छ त्यस्तो पाउनुहुन्छ यसले एउटा मेसेज के दिन्छ त God is prevalent in this universe and he punishes if anyone perform bad deeds. So if you spread happiness, यदि तपाईले happiness दिनुहुन्छ अरूलाई happiness return मा आउँछ. If you give sadness to others, it will come back to you many folds like the giants. It suggests that a kind heart is always a blessing. Kind heart is always a blessing and is implied by blessed by the Almighty. यदि तपाईले के हुन्छ if you help to others, अरूलाई सहयोग गर्नुहुन्छ भने or needy people, you will be helped by the God in return. This very beautiful story suggests giving happiness to others will make you feel happy in our life as well. Thus यसले के हामीलाई मेसेज दिन्छ we should share happiness to others. The second question is, does the God punish those who are cruel to children and very selfish? So of course, yes, of course the God punishes those. Yes, Godly punish garcha those who are cruel to the children and very selfish people like the selfish giant in the story The Selfish Giant. As the giant arrived, he prohibited children to play in the garden. He built a tall fence around the garden. Because of his misdeed, the god was angry. The god was furious. God resounded and he planned to punish the giant. Therefore, he prohibited happiness, joy, and pleasures in the garden. Even spring looked like winter. The effect of snow, frost, and the hails and the north wind were seen, but as the giant welcomed the children, जसरी बच्चालाई जायन्टले आफ्नो गार्डनमा वेलकम गर्छ उसको गार्डन एकदमै ह्याप्पी हुन्छ यस there is greenery, flowers, birds singing. Yes, sweet songs are available in the garden. So the god was happy and the things continued as usual as it was before. The Bible also gives a definite answer to these questions. Bible ma हामीले हेर्यौं भने if you see the Bible has also a definite answer to these questions stating that not punishment but a severe or terrible punishment भनेको गडले सजाय मात्र होइदैन एउटा एकदमै सिभर टेरिबल पनिशमेन्ट दिनुहुन्छ इफ एनीवन इज विक्ड कसैले नराम्रो व्यवहार गर्छ अरूको लागि नराम्रो गर्छ ब्याड वर्क्सहरू मिस्टिडहरू गर्छ भने ही अर सी विल बी गिवन punishment severely by the Jesus Christ. He has been favor of those who are in support of God and his right path, who will follow the right path, who will follow the path of the God. God is happy with them. And who is disobeys the God and mistreats the people who will be punished by the gods. So this is about the story this selfish giant. So dear students, if you have any queries regarding this chapter, the selfish giant, you may ask in the comment section below. So this much for today. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good day.